Where have I been? It's so good to be back and recording a relatively short video as the next edition of the Wild Man Revolution show. I'll drop this on the podcast too, so if you're listening in, thank you very, very much. I've been going to record this for a few days, and I'm like, I don't want to do something and just talk about what's been going on in my life. Would that be valuable to the listener or the viewer? Now, I know some of it would, and I know some of my videos, that's what they have been. Go with me on this. I decided earlier in the year that I wanted the podcast to evolve. I'm on video platforms. I love the video the most. I really do. Again, I'm on podcast channels, call them channels. And I've got other content I really wanted to share, but I didn't feel it fitted into the podcast label. I didn't feel it fitted into just the Wild Man Revolution podcast. So I'm like, I'll do a show. It literally opens it up to all different possibilities. Still going to be listening on the podcast. Again, thank you very much. You're going to see it visually. I'm able to take more content from it and get my message out to the world and just get some value out there, because a lot of the content I want to share is around like adventure and fishing and just doing like manly things that I do. Well, my wife thinks they're manly and I'll go with it. Going out there with the family and stuff like that, which I think is really, really relevant for my mission, because my mission is to be able to empower more men to live a happy and fulfilling life. It's that simple. One where they get to do all the things, have all the things, have all the play, all the joy, all the abundance, but do it in a way that doesn't come with just sacrifice their time, their health, their energy. So I'm so excited to finally, it's been about 6 months down the track, as I go on my own journey, to be able to bring you this next evolution of the Wild Man Revolution show. Again, there's been a lot going on in my world. I've really been supporting my wife as she travels the world, keynote speaking and supporting and facilitating at some amazing events in Bali, Indonesia, in the US, in Vegas, off to Sweden, with more to come. So I've been like at home a lot with my son. I've also been processing a lot. Now, I've been in what you could call a seasonal winter. Now, I'm not talking about the weather, but just like the weather, in winter, it can get cold and dark and grey. A lot of animals hibernate. I've really been hibernating a lot. I've been doing a lot of inner work. I've been doing really working on mastering some more practices in my life. I'm very big on practices and discipline. And again, it's coming from the place of how can I better serve men of the world? Well, there's some things in my life that I just wanted to improve on. Again, I had a back injury about 3 months ago. I've been getting little niggly injuries like every 6 months or so for the last few years. I've been tinkering with the way I go about looking after my body. I value health so highly. I'm still the fittest and healthiest I've ever been in my life, but the back injury, it was a real interesting little period for me. Now, again, it's about 3 months ago. It literally was my son, who's nearly 5, but he's a little tank. And he's rough as, which I love. It's awesome. We wrestle all the time. But I was leaning against a pole at the park one day, and I didn't see him coming, and he's run 100 miles an hour from so far away and just like slammed me straight in. It crashed straight into me down the front, hit me in the balls. That was painful enough. But when that pain subsided, when I was rolling on the ground, I realized I couldn't get up. And I really struggled to get up, and it hurt. It hurt a lot. I had tears coming out of my eye. I was like, it's okay to cry, but this was like real pain. Now, at first, I thought I'd done my hip flexor, which I sort of had. There was some sort of tear or something in there. I'm like, well, that's what it is. But as I started the rehab on that and the recovery on that, I realized it was like lower back. Chiro confirmed it in a few scans and all that sort of stuff. So in that period, it's been really, really frustrating from the point where I love like working out. I love training. I love being in the outdoors and exercising in that. But I really took it as a big sign to be able to slow down for a bit. I was really navigating a few things into that. Again, I paused a lot of external stuff already. I paused a lot of content creation. It's a great thing to have in life if you can do that, by the way. It all comes with part of my mission, showing men how to get balance and harmony in their life, really. because at times we've got to rest, and I really needed this internal winter. But the back injury was a real thing. It was like a big slap in the face to go, hey, there are a couple of things that maybe you should give more focus and attention to. Instead of always being outside of myself serving, like with clients, with my other businesses and things like this, again, even content. So what I'm talking about here, I think, is the value for this video. So I know I'm talking about myself and my experience here, but please take this as, okay, maybe a moment to pause and look at your life. Because more often than not, I know in my life, until I really took some responsibility and started really looking after myself and prioritizing self-care and my health about, it's a bit over a decade ago now. But a lot of us in life, we need something to slap us in the face because we're avoiding looking at something. We mightn't be consciously aware of it. Again, for me, there was some stress starting to creep into my life. Now, some level of stress is good. Challenges are good. We are stimulated by a challenge. But I started to realize that it was actually starting to have a detriment on the way I wanted to live life. Now, no major problems, of course. I have an epic relationship with my beautiful queen. You will be seeing her. Again, why I'm turning this into the show. You'll be seeing a little bit more on here. I've got the new studio, which I've put in upstairs. To really work on the sound. I wanted to improve the quality of what I've been bringing to you guys. My offices where I've been doing it, that just hasn't been the best. And I probably wouldn't have changed a few things if I didn't get the back injury, let's face it. Again, it hasn't been a bad thing. It's been frustrating because I've needed to change a lot of the way I've trained for a while, for a long time. I've had to look at when I do certain routines in my day. Like the way I get up in the morning, I've had to tinker with that a little bit. Like I'm very, very disciplined. When I choose something that I know is going to work for me, I'll stick at it. So it's been 3 months now. Now the back is fantastic and great. I'm feeling strong. Like I've really, to give you an insight into some of the things I've trained, I'm focused a lot more on shorter workouts. Now I'm 45. Again, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I can like run like crazy and all this sort of stuff. But these little injuries keep popping up every 3 or 6 months. I want to iron them out. I want to better manage my health and my body physically and still really push my workouts. So what I've been able to do is like look at it and go, okay, I've been doing shorter workouts, more intensity, but lots of full body stuff. Instead of just really looking at, I'm going to work on this muscle group today and this muscle group and supersets. No, I've been just focusing on full body. And it has been a game changer for me. I've been working a lot more on my core. My glutes have taken a bit more focus. Just these little things, and it hasn't been reactive. This is the thing. You might think, well, that's just reactive. No, this has been very intentional. I'm going to really put something new into play here. I'm going to get the guidance and advice that I feel I need. Again, I'm going to ask for help, which has been massive for me. I've also aligned what I've shifted and changed to do more energy work. I've been working with the Embodied I Ching with my really good friend, Mr. Ryan Nasser, who you will be seeing very, very soon on the show again. If you haven't checked out his earlier episode, fantastic. Always brings some random value, which is just really like, it's actually mind-blowing. But we're going to talk more about some of the work I've been doing. It involves like men's, we call it the sexual kung fu. I'll let him describe it because it has been fantastic for me. So I've brought all these other things into my life or shifted a few things around. And early on, the frustration came. It's like I felt like I was doing extra or it was harder. But this is what happens when you introduce something new. You got to lean into it. If you are clear and you're like, this is the goal I've got and this is the strategy I'm going to implement, you got to stick at it sometimes. There's going to be friction. You've got to go with the friction. It's usually inner friction too. You got to lean into that and you got to stick at it until you at least start to see some different results. And sometimes that can take some time. I've just come from the gym earlier today. I actually trained twice today, which is fantastic. I haven't done that in a while. I'm doing that here and there. Yeah, but I decided to go for a run this afternoon. And I'm like, I'm just going to push the body and see where my fitness is at. I haven't pushed myself in a proper run since I hurt the back. Now, I've been for a few jogs, but I'm like, okay, I went to the gym and jumped on the treadmill and slammed out like 3K in under 12 minutes. Now, I was going to keep going. Now, that I didn't really have a goal to do that. I said, I'm just going to push myself and see how the body feels. Now, I paused it for a moment, about 20 seconds, and threw my phone to the amazing lady in the gym. I said, can you just record me running? And when I clicked on the thing, I'm like, I'm going to run like the next 2K flat out and like smash 5K in like 19 minutes. And she recorded me running and it zeroed out on the machine. But it didn't matter. It wasn't about the time or anything like that. For me, it was like the time was just a measurement. Like, wow, this different training I've been doing has really leveled out strength in my body, so to say. It's probably increased it or balanced it out. So that has been a big thing for me and a game changer. Now, that wouldn't have come, not the run, but how I feel in my body, how I was able to perform today without actually pushing myself in a run for ages. I haven't run 3K in ages. I haven't sprinted in ages. And it wasn't even a full sprint. It was fast. But giving me a result from doing a different strategy, which was more what I felt in alignment to give me more longevity, more vitality in my health. That's clearly working. So there's something, again, I'm talking about my own self, take something on board for you guys out there. And again, how I've wanted to do certain things in my life, how I've wanted to show up on social media and not on social media, when I'm connecting in with people. Again, I'm here on the planet to help. I'm a men's empowerment coach. That would probably be the label or the banner you put it under, even though I practice many, many modalities. And definitely not a half-ass at many. I do my very best to embody and do the work and bring it into my practice, to what I bring to others, which I think is so important, especially in this day and age. There's so many people out there that have got the labels but don't have the embodiment. The other thing too is I have some amazing humans that I want to bring to this platform. I do. And a lot of them aren't going to be known to people. They're going to be people, blokes generally, so the men. And this is what I really feel is at the core of the wild man revolution. If I'm talking about social media and helping people and as a place for people to get some different sort of insight and value. I'm going to be talking to men who have just made some big changes in their life. Again, they mightn't even be on social media, but I really feel there's so much value that's being missed in we could call it the marketplace, with guys that are having a crack and they are living a great life, but they just don't put it everywhere. Again, I've got some really grounded men to interview around this, and I think there's going to be great value in that. So I'm excited to bring that to the show. I'd love to bring some content where I'm out and about, maybe in some different areas and chatting to different people. Again, the world is an interesting place. It gets even more interesting every day. I do have my own opinions of that, so I may bring some opinion pieces. I may not. I'll see what's relevant, because I feel that it's easy to get caught up in the world stuff. I think it's a big distraction, and a lot of people are distracted, so why add more energy to it? But there is some valuable stuff out there that I know will help people. I think the biggest thing for everyone, and what's really going to help me really ramp this up and really get more valuable content out and more valuable to what you guys want, and probably even more what you need and what you might not think you need until you actually tune in. But what's going to help with that? Please subscribe, share anything, leave some comments. Leave some comments that may add some value or gives you insight. What do you want? What do you want on the show? I'm open to this. It doesn't mean I'm just going to bend to what one person wants or anything, but the feedback helps me a lot. The subscriptions help me a lot. I'm building the YouTube. I'm going to build out other platforms, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of me showing up. And to be honest, currently, right now, I'm a one-man team. Not that I believe I need to do anything myself, but that's the way I'm choosing to roll at the moment. Again, coming out, if I go back to the season I've been in, the winter, I'm emerging from the cave now, grounded, clear, and I know what my strategy is going forward. And one of them is I'm just going to come when I'm inspired, when I really feel like my energy is going to be so serving to the interaction. And again, I'm not going to I'm going to be here once a day. I'm going to be here once a week. No, I'm just going to roll this content out, like I said, when I'm inspired. So I really do hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the next evolution of the Wild Man Revolution. Again, at the core of it for me, the Wild Man Revolution, it means many, many things. All the guests I ask, what does a Wild Man Revolution mean to you when you hear it? And I always get a different answer. And I think that's what it's about for the men, especially. For me, it's about really me being fully expressed, showing the world my inner world, my inner wild. It's a big part of my life too, out in the wild, doing crazy shit, holding venomous snakes and hanging out with crocs and doing all the things. But at the same time, for the work I'm doing with men, it's to really help them unlock that inner wild, that inner energy that's either been dulled out, avoided, suppressed, numbed out, shamed, or anything. A lot of that work can't happen here. A lot of it's behind the scenes, but this is a big part of it. So thank you again for tuning in. I'm going to shush up now. I'm very excited for this, and I would love to hear from you all. See you later.